Welcome to the Glitter Boom Girls podcast, where friendship is our superpower. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson over on the East Coast.
And I'm Amy Asbury on the West Coast. Hi, everybody.
Hey, guys. So, don't you hate that? Hey, guys. I don't know what else
to
say.
Say.
Hey, everyone.
Listen, I like guys, but I don't like when a waitress says guys when it's two ladies. You're like, no, we're not guys. But I still find it endearing when you say it.
Well, you know, to me, it doesn't bother me, but the whole, because I watch so much YouTube,
hey guys.
Yeah, the YouTube cadence where they go, and I will put this on my YouTube. Hey guys,
hey
welcome
guys.
To my, you know.
But do you find it weird when you're at a relatively nice restaurant and a server comes over and the lights are low and they say, hi guys.
Yeah.
I just something about it. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, it's just informal, you know.
Yes.
Like hello.
But you know what? This is informal, and these are our friends. So I like guys right now.
That's right.
Hey guys.
Hi guys. Hello. This is the Glitter Boom Girl. Yeah. Anyway, so we're talking about Easter today, vintage Easter, and.
I love Easter.
So do I. And we have so much to discuss. We're going to share a lot about our personal lives, aren't we, Aim?
I think so. I would like to know about your Easter. I know that much. How your Easters went.
Yeah, and can I just say my cat has taken up residence right behind my laptop. He just needs to sit there, so...
He's your assistant today. He's the producer today.
He's so weird. But just, you know, so if there's clunking or whatever, it's McLickens. So yeah, so Easter. There are several things to like several sub topics here. Cuz you know, you have the religion and the you know, the sacred part of the holiday, which, you know, that's all deeply personal to each person if you're, you know, if you celebrate Easter. And so that's not really a whole part of our conversation here, but we may discuss church now and then. But so everybody don't think that we are like discounting the value of Easter to Christians and Catholics and anybody that celebrates it. We're just not talking about that particular aspect here because we have not enough time. We need to discuss the candy, the outfits,
the merchandising of it to children.
Exactly. The Easter bunny. And we also need to talk about what our family rituals were, because I'm willing to bet that we share a lot of that with you guys. So I can't say, what am I going to say, with you people?
No, it's cute. Say right. You guys. You're endearing.
But let's start with you, Aim. So, okay, it's Easter morning at Amy's house, and you are, you know, 7 years old. What's going on?
I am 7 years old. My parents never told me about the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, so I don't have the greatest stories as far as maybe somebody else. I know, guys. They were like in this like cult, this like super born again crazy cult. Anyway, whatever.
But you were aware that there was an Easter Bunny, right?
I kind of heard about it. We didn't get an Easter basket probably until I was 7. So good picking of ages there.
Okay.
Because once you go to school and you realize, you come home and you're like, why is everybody getting an Easter basket and I'm not? You know?
Yeah.
So when I was 7, I think I got my first Easter basket. I came out into the den where the orange beanbags were, where I watched all my shows.
The sweaty beanbags.
The sweaty ass beanbag. There were 2 beautiful Easter baskets. I couldn't believe it. They weren't even like the store kind. They were like these macrame. They were woven. One was pink,
like
one was blue.
Homemade shit?
I don't think my mother made them, but somebody did, and they had beautiful bows on them. My jaw dropped. I didn't even think about cereal or anything else. I was like, excuse my language, but what the fuck? I couldn't believe it. So anyway, there they were.
There really is
by
an
myself.
Easter bunny.
I didn't think they were from the Easter Bunny.
Oh,
I thought they were from my parents because I was not told about said Easter Bunny.
okay. So you,
However, you guys, I had blue eyes. My sister and I are both dark hair. I was the only one in my family with blue eyes, which is yeah, real nice. But I always got the blue boy version of everything. Oh, it'll match your eyes. I was the biggest pink fanatic, Rob. So I saw that my sister's basket that had her name was the pink one, and mine was the blue. So my heart was like, oh man. And then you guys remember in the 70s, this might have been 1980 when I got this, but remember those little stuffed animals where these were rabbits in this case of the what was inside the Easter basket, but there was two animals, their heads were facing you and they were hugging and they had Velcro arms across each
yeah.
other's, I don't want to move my head too much, across each other's neck, and there were two little huggy animals. The one in my sister's basket was so much better than the one in mine. Like, it was so beautiful when I came out, and then I realized that I got the subpar basket and the subpar little cute animals, and I was bummed. But anyway, so beautiful basket. My grandparents were super Catholic, so we'd go over there and there'd be a ham and you'd wear a beautiful outfit and there's egg hunt somewhere. But yeah, so Easter morning,
Wait,
that
hold up. The
yeah,
outfit.
yeah.
Are you going to get into the outfit?
I'll get into the
Oh,
outfit,
okay,
but
okay.
if you're asking me about Easter morning, it wasn't like, hey, the Easter Bunny came. It was like, hey, my parents got me this cool thing, and it's out of this world. So what did you see when little Rob came down? Was it downstairs or were you in a one story?
Well, it depended. We moved
We,
a few
we had
times.
like a ranch house, so there was stables in the back. It was just all sunny in California, with like a big flat house.
Yeah, I think I was on. Well, I was kind of in a splitish level type thing. But we had a real small apartment when I was real little.
Oh, okay.
And I have to say, let's see, so Easter morning at our house was just this angry, screaming chaos
Wait,
of
what?
trying to get me and or my brother, depending on whether my brother was born when I was 7. So if it was before 7, it was just me. And my mother just, oh no, Robbie, like, putting a dress on that she bought at Woolworths. I love you, Mom, but damn it. So, and then she's getting all dressed up, and my dad would put his sport coat on or whatever, and we would head over to my mom's parents' house. My grandpa and grandma, Grandpa and Grandma Z, we called them. The
So
Polish.
this is not Grandma Helen?
Yeah, this is Grandma Helen. Grandma
Okay.
Helen and Grandpa Bill, but their last name started with a Z. So, and it was the Polish side of my family, which is awesome. And I love like the Polish side of me. That's the side of me that's like loud and funny and may not, go down with everybody, but
Grandma
but
Helen.
I like that part of me. So we would go there, and they they always owned a tavern restaurant. That was their whole career. So they would have these gigantic dinners where they invited every the relatives where you call them cousin so and so or aunt so and so, and that you don't even know how they're related to you.
You're like, wait a second,
Yeah, it was
whose
like
sibling are you?
it was like
Wait,
40 people.
what was the tavern called?
Uh, there were the one that they had when I was alive. Was when I was born.
When you were
Was
alive.
Yeah, when I
You're
was
like,
alive.
oh,
Because
I
I
get it, when
am
I was
now
alive.
dead.
Yeah.
The,
All right,
the
go on.
the one they had when I was born
Okay.
was called the Pink Panther.
How funny.
Yeah, and it was like a little bar in the front and then the family restaurant in the back. My grandmother ran the kitchen, my grandpa ran the bar, and they screamed and yelled at each other like all day long across the restaurant. Like,
That is
you
so
shut up. You don't know what you're talking. Just get back in the But
Wait,
they loved each
wait.
other so much.
Okay, so if they had something for Easter, were they super, what is the, not that religion matters in this at all, but were they super Catholic? Like what was their,
Hang on, I have got to get this cat off the. Come
the
here, baby.
producer? The
Yeah, my
producer, McLickens?
producer Kitty McWiggins. He's like Godzilla. He gets on the desktop and he just like starts stomping and knocking shit over.
Oh,
You want to sit
McLickens.
here? You can sit here.
These Polish people yelling at each other in the Pink Panther on Easter, were they Catholic? Because I feel like my
Yes.
Catholic grandparents, their yell was extra loud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was
It was a
Catholic,
Catholic yelling
Polish
loud.
Catholics. Yeah. And my I don't know about other Polish families, but mine were just loud people. It's sort of not angry necessarily, but it was just loud. And I definitely have carried that forward because I've been told more than once at more than one workplace, um, your voice really carries. So anyway, so we would all pack in the car, and my parents would have gotten in a fight that morning over something, and I would be wearing this itchy dress that I liked, but that was uncomfortable, and I was freezing because in Buffalo, you never know with Easter. In Buffalo, Easter could be like 60 degrees or it could be like
Interesting.
snowing. Yeah. And so if it was snowing that year, I mean, I'm in like little Mary Jane patent leather shoes and I'm freezing my ass off. So we would get to grandma's and it was just utter chaos.
Well,
Like,
did the Easter Bunny visit you prior?
no, no.
Oh my. Okay.
But when we got to grandma's,
Okay.
because they did everything big, go big or
Okay.
go home, okay? We would have, and there's like 50 kids. My three cousins, shout out Michelle and Chris and Bill, they were there. And with Michelle and me, it was much like you and your sister,
Mm-hmm.
where we got the exact same thing, but
Yeah.
I would get the yellow one and Michelle would get the pink one, or I would get the blue one and Michelle would get the yellow one. It was like that.
Did you have a preference for the color? Because you weren't like, it has to be pink in your head.
No, no. To me, it depended on what it was. So I,
Okay.
I wasn't really particular about all that. But and I don't recall. We never fought about anything. So I don't recall that being an issue. So the Robbie-Ann Polish family Easter was like the hallmark of it was tons of candy. I mean, just candy, candy, candy. And you know me, I was in heaven, and I would eat so much chocolate. I can't believe, like, every other kid in the place would be sick and I'd be like, can I have that? Are you gonna eat that? Like,
Did
I
you
just,
put more sugar on it, knowing you? Did you like spoon more sugar on the Easter Bunny or
if there
dip it
was
in the sugar bowl?
if there was frosting on something, I dipped it in the frosting. Yeah. But they would give us these giant Easter baskets. I mean, like literally a 3 foot tall chocolate rabbit
Lovely.
would be wrapped in this big thing, and then this colossal Easter basket chock full of all that plastic green grass, and there'd be all these plastic eggs in there, multicolored plastic eggs full of like little candies, hard candies and stuff, and M&Ms. Then there was Reese's peanut butter cups and Peeps, which I
Wow.
hate, and like
Yeah,
all
I never liked those.
no, my mom is all about the Peeps.
I just sounded like Peter Brady right now. Sorry about my voice cracking.
Oh,
Yeah, those
it's
Peeps, they're
time
just like
to
these,
change. It's time.
they're like these spray painted marshmallows, these like airbrushed. They were just
Yeah.
so disgusting.
I took a peep once when I worked in LA. I had like a cubicle,
Mm-hmm.
and so everybody could walk by, and the top of the cubicle is flat. I took a peep one Easter, and I set it on top of my cubicle. And I told everyone I was going to see how long it took the peep to like go bad. Do you know it never went bad? I worked there for like 9 years. And the peep
That's so
I
disgusting.
took the peep as I got promoted. The peep went with me to like my,
What color Peep? Was
it,
it
it was a lavender,
traditional?
it was
Oh, it
a
was
lavender
lavender.
chick peep, not a rabbit peep.
Oh, wow.
So it
Okay.
just sat there, and it got really hard. Like it,
Ugh.
but you could still press it. Like it was so weird. I'm like, what is in this stuff? But anyway, so we would get these giant Easter baskets. Now, I knew they were not from any old Easter bunny. But the other thing about my grandma that was so great, she decorated everything within an inch of its life, no matter what holiday it was. So her whole house, the restaurant, everything was plastered with every Easter
How
bunny, chick,
fun.
egg, happy Easter sign. It was so cool. And we would sit down and eat some giant dinner, of course, with Easter ham
Right.
and mashed potatoes. And this is kind of unique to the Northeast. I don't know that it's found outside of Buffalo, but there's something called a butter lamb, which is made by Land O'Lakes, and it's a little like butter in the shape of a lamb with 2 cloves in the eyes and then a little red ribbon. And it, of course, you take the
Wow.
ribbon off. And like, I'm such a jerk, I would lop the lamb's head off. That would be my first thing, and put it in my mashed potatoes. But the butter lamb, there'd be like this huge long table, 40 people, kids running around, grown-ups all drinking and stuff. And then everyone would sit down to eat this giant meal with all this crazy stuff. And there's like 20 butter lambs all up and down the table. Grandma would she was in heaven. Like, she loved, and then the Polish sausage, which is a very particular type of sausage and a very particular smell that some people love, some people don't. So there, every delicious Polish tradition, and there's a Polish cake. It was a poppy seed, like a roll with the, of course, frosting, sugar frosting on the top, like a confectioner's sugar.
Wow.
And I would eat half of that, and then, and it's like a loaf, and I would eat half the loaf. But we had the best time. Easters were so much fun, and there was always a toy for us, some Easter related, stuffed duck or rabbit or something, and some little like trinket type toys that you'd find at Woolworths or Kmart or whatever. And we would just run around and play. There was a lot of screaming. Somebody always fell down and got hurt, usually me.
Always.
Yeah, always me.
Always.
And we, the end of the day, we'd all be exhausted, and my parents would just drive home like with this glazed, shell shock expression on their face, like, geez, we made it.
Now,
But
did you guys do an egg hunt or an egg roll or any
no,
of these things?
we were never an egg hunt clan. We
Mm-hmm.
did do like a basket, hidden baskets. Like, there were a couple of years where my mom did. Once my brother was born, she would make little baskets in the morning and hide them in the house. So we would look around for the baskets, which was fun. And most years we did go to church. I think when my brother was born, it got a little difficult because he's a baby. But we would go to church. We were Creasters. We went at Christmas and Easter pretty much, and sometimes we'd go with the whole family. Like, we'd go to grandma's first, and then the whole clan would just like it was like a swarm of bees. Like, this swarm of our family would all swarm into their cars and then drive down in a caravan to the church, and then like get out of the cars and swarm into the church. And like, it was so riotous. I loved it. I miss that so much. I can't even, like,
Were you all wearing the light colors? Was everybody in somewhat of pastels?
Yeah, the kids were. Yeah, Michelle and I were usually in some kind of pastel. Yeah. And the boys, they would have like navy pants and shirts, and it just within, I don't know, 5 minutes, they'd have like stains and red candy shit all over their shirts and stuff. It's just like a wild, crazy scene, but lots of love and lots of fun. Our family, people didn't really get in brawls or anything, but there were like simmering tensions. Like, there was no explosion of a fight where 2 adults would start screaming at each other. It was never like that. It was just these little cliques and groups amongst the whole family and the clan where, these two, it were a little icy, and these two, they didn't talk to each other. They would just nod, like pouring drinks, like, how you doing? Good.
And then
Good.
as a child, were you ever made aware just from eavesdropping on your mother what these people were chilly toward each other? What reason?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, like what?
Yeah, because, you would hear, I would be running around, and all the women, of course, were in the kitchen cleaning up, washing dishes, cooking, and the men were all sitting in the living room watching something on TV and like talking shit. So, the women, it was all, Well, did you see what she said? I told her that she shouldn't be doing. Well, yeah, but she won't listen. And she tells him, and she goes over, and then he does this and that, and he does. So we heard everything. We heard everybody's dirty laundry, everybody's friggin' business. You know, it was like, and there were these people that my grandma used to take in. I mean, nowadays I would say we would call them hobos, maybe, but back in the day they called them handymen, and they would live on a cot in the basement, and like they would do stuff for my grandparents, like fix things and, you know, random things. And I mean, listen, my grandmother had the biggest heart of anyone that I ever knew, and so she took care of these people. However, they would also let these guys babysit us, which looking back,
I can't believe it. That's so 70s.
I know.
So 70s.
You know, it's like riding in the back of the station wagon with the door open. You know,
oh,
like no seatbelts. Oh, yeah, sure.
Handy
you know,
man.
let this hobo babysit the kids for a few hours. Like, oh my goodness. But
that's so 70s. That's so on brand.
Yeah, totally. You know, it's just how life was back then. And to my grandparents' credit, I mean, they really helped. There were a few of these guys in our history because they would sort of cycle out. You know, like sometimes something bad would happen and suddenly they were never spoken of again. Or, you know, they would get a job, or they'd get help them get an apartment or whatever. Like, it was just their nature.
They'd be in prison and you were never told, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. They probably weren't the creepy ones. The creepy uncles and stuff are usually like the really great, you know, charismatic guys who look perfect. So it's funny.
There was no one like that in my family.
There was no one. You know what? I remember snippets of Easters and also shit talking amongst the women. And I just remember hearing, as I was running by one of my aunts, and he smelled like a brewery. I'll never forget that.
Exactly.
Thinking, like, what? Which uncle was that? And then I do recall my father drinking a beer. Well, they all smelled like a brewery. And I remember my mother hid a bunch of plastic eggs. And my father thought it was so funny that he hid some eggs in the cactus in our backyard. And he sat there with his beer, chuckling while we were trying to get these eggs out of this like awful ass cactus. So anyway, that was one thing I recall. Like, how are we going to get this out of here? We're going to get like destroyed. And he was just like chuckling in the corner with his Bud Light.
Yeah, there was a lot of canned beer.
Canned beer.
It was not a fancy, it was a fancy dinner, but not a formal dinner, if that makes sense. Like,
there was always beer. Oh, did I say Bud Light? Because my father would never drink Bud Light. It was Budweiser.
Oh.
But yeah, there was beer. And I recall mint jelly at some point. It must have been lamb or something.
With I don't know.
Lamb.
Oh, the mint jelly. Ugh. I still get the spits when I think about that stuff is awful.
Yeah, do you remember the kinds of candy? Because I remember getting all of those Brock's, jelly beans, and thinking, oh man, jelly beans, really? Like, I didn't really care for jelly beans.
Right, and jelly bean was like the official candy of Easter.
It was the official candy, and then there was like these big weird oblong eggs that were kind of flat on the bottom from Brock's, and they were like marshmallow inside, and they weren't good marshmallow either. It was like, oh, do you remember those?
You know what? I don't think I ever ate them, but I remember their existence. Put it that way. I was not a marshmallow anything.
Me neither. I did like the little foil wrapped eggs. They're like milk chocolate. I don't really care for those now.
Yeah.
But I did love, the malt, the Whoppers type of eggs. There were some that were white, speckled, little shell of chocolate. They still have them. They were called White Fiesta eggs. Now they're just called, I don't know, Easter eggs. But those are pretty darn good.
I liked those too. I can't stand Milk Duds, but I loved those eggs. I'm not sure why. And I remember...
No, it was like Whoppers, though. It wasn't Milk Duds. It was like the malt.
That's right. Well, I hate Whoppers too.
Real light. Oh, you hate Whoppers. Oh, I love that malt.
I am not. I think Whoppers are like, they should be illegal. Whoppers are just a no, like a giant no for me.
Yeah, so the eggs, like any kind of colorful foil or any kind of, I just liked all the little colors. It looked like little rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, sometimes there would be like a fruit and nut egg where it was just like this big slab of something covered in chocolate in a little box. And you were like, what
No,
is this thing? Oh,
I
yeah, that
don't
was
know
so
what that is.
odd.
I
It was
remember the
odd.
Reese's peanut butter eggs, which I could put away,
Ooh,
half a dozen of those. Like I
those were really
loved
darn
those.
good.
That was like the holy grail in the basket. If I had Reese's and beyond the peanut butter cups, if I had Reese's peanut butter eggs in the basket, like it was like gold, and I would trade stuff for them
It was a
and all that.
wrap. It was a
Yeah.
wrap. Now, do you recall dyeing eggs?
Yes, I do. With the Paas kit, the PAAS little kit that you get at the grocery store.
That supposedly got its name from the Dutch word for Easter, which
Oh,
was Pasen, the name for their Easter holiday. Yeah, it was
that
named
makes
some other
sense.
thing.
I
It was
thought it
like the
was
new
like Mr. Paas invented the egg dye.
No, it was like the New Jersey Turnpike Egg Company, and then like he renamed it that word, so I thought it was kind of nice. But so you used that kit, and what was that like for you?
Well, like everything else, clumsy, and I spilled shit all over the place. But they came with those little egg holders where you
Those
would
were so fault-filled.
I know. And I would okay, so I'd pick it up and I would try to dunk it in, and then the egg would fall and plop, and then there'd be like dye all over the place. And my Easter eggs were always like I would try to get fancy and creative and do this multicolored stuff because the box would say, oh, try this, or try dipping half an egg in this and half an egg in that, and they just came out like this weird kind of pukey purple color or like purpley browny yucky. So I was not known for my fancy egg dyeing skills, and my friends' parents,
Hmm.
my friends' mothers, they all had like the crafting gene. So they would do the pinprick and like empty the egg, and or they had the little egg thing that you it was like a drill and you'd empty the egg. So their eggs were all hollow and fancy and
Were these the girls with the matching turtleneck to the matching socks to the matching
yes.
monogram sweater? Oh my.
Yes. Yes, these were the girls whose mothers when the girls were taking a shower and getting ready in the morning, the mothers would put the towels in the dryer and heat up the towels for them. How cool is that,
Wow.
right?
That's next level.
I know.
Wait, so you made the eggs, and I remember making these eggs with just this weak color. My mother would have to add food coloring. And if she did not add food coloring to the dye, which it was always vinegar, you dunked it in some kind of
Yeah,
vinegar,
and there was
I
a
think white vinegar,
tablet. Yeah, it was a
and a
tablet
little
you would
lame
drop
tablet.
in. Yeah.
And mine would always be like cracked, and then the crack would absorb all the dye, and you think it's going to be this bright turquoise, and it's like this whitish blue.
Yeah, no, it
You're
was
like,
whitish blue anyway. Like even if you didn't crack it cuz
you're like,
I
what the heck?
yeah, and mom tried experimenting a lot where you would, if it said put a cup of water and a pause tablet, mom would put a half a cup, right? And so you'd roll the egg around in the little half a cup. It just never quite worked. Like I really think to get a good, artsy or artisan, let's say, to get the artisan Easter egg experience, you really have to paint them, you know? And you had to have that thing, that spinning thing where you put the egg sideways in it and then it spun and you would just touch the egg and it would draw like rings on the egg. A lot of my friends had that. I think we tried one once and I'm sure it didn't work.
We had in 1979, 1978, this brand Dudley's came out. And now there's Dudley's and they were sold to somebody and you can get them for like 3 cents at the Dollar Tree. I'm not talking that Dudley's. I'm
Wait,
talking.
what was it? It was Easter egg dye
So
or?
it was Easter egg dye and it was this beautiful package that it looked kind of like one of the Captain Crunch boxes. And it was called Dudley's Shake and Egg. And you look at the box and you're like, yeah, right. Not all this stuff's going to be in the box. There were puppets. There were little cutout guys that you put the egg in, really beautifully drawn with googly eyes. The dye was gorgeous, and you put them in these bags and you shake it like shake and bake chicken, and the dye would get all over it. So it wasn't the dye where you uh, put it into vinegar or water.
Wait,
It was
so
like
it
these
was liquid?
tablets.
Wait, it was liquid dye or wait,
It was
I
like,
don't
you know
understand the
what? Well,
chemistry.
they also had liquid dye that you could just put in, and they kind of looked like the ketchup packets from McDonald's. They did sell that kind of dye, so it wasn't a tablet. It was beautiful dye. But the shake and egg, I think there were little tabs. Hold on, I'm looking at it on the internet. 5 packets of pre-measured special effect color crystals and 5 shaky bags. So you dump in this little Kool-Aid packet and add a little vinegar. So anyway, they had a whole way of doing it, and they came out really, really nice. And I loved the characters. They kind of looked like some kind of fast food character, but they did a really, really great job. I found that really cute.
That is cute.
And then did you watch the Easter specials? Like it's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown.
Oh gosh, I did. The only ones I really remember though, because I don't remember Easter being a real big TV holiday like Christmas or Halloween.
Right.
But I remember the Rankin Bass ones. With the little like dolls,
The little stop motion. Well,
yeah, the stop motion dolls.
in 1971 they had Here Comes Peter Cottontail, and it was voiced. Peter Cottontail was voiced by Casey Kasem, and he was the young Easter Bunny, and he was named the new chief Easter Bunny, but he loses a contest to the evil January Q Irontail, who was like this big mean gray rabbit.
Yeah, that was the mechanical rabbit, right? He was like,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, I
And
remember
that guy wanted to
Totally remember
ruin
that.
Easter.
They always
And
want to ruin Easter, ruin Christmas, ruin.
right. And the funny thing was there was a little clay Danny Kaye, and he was like on this like, gosh, I can't remember if that was the train one, but anyway, he was the little narrator, and he had like a little hat, and you know how there's usually like Burl Ives or something. But anyway, Danny Kaye was in that one,
Fred Astaire.
and I thought that one was super cute. And then they had one that was not stop motion; it was a cartoon, and it was called The First Easter Rabbit, and that was 1976. That one was narrated by Burl Ives. And remember those cartoons? I think they had one called "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" with a mouse and a clock. Anyway, they had one about the Easter Bunny, and it was like this little girl had scarlet fever. There's always some kid having some issue, and the Easter Bunny befriends Santa Claus, and these, so that there was a cartoon one. And the third one, I'm sure you remember this one. The Easter Bunny is coming to town in 1977, and Fred Astaire
Oh yeah.
it was kind of the Easter version of Santa Claus is coming to town. He was
Right.
the narrator, and he was riding on this little train, this little claymation train full of candy. And, kids were asking him questions. Why do we have an egg roll? Why do we eat jelly beans? So he's answering the questions of the kids on behalf of the Easter Bunny. And he kind of tells the story. And I think you probably remember that one. There was the scary guy in this one was Gadzooks the bear. It was like this giant bear, and he was all mad. And by the end, he was like wearing like a plaid suit, and he was like a nice guy by the end. But anyway,
Just like the abominable snowman, all they
right,
had to do was fix his teeth.
right. And it's funny that you're talking about hobos, because there was a friggin' hobo in this one, and he had like sleeveless gloves. There was something about hobos in this one. We're gonna have to Google it, but there's that typical look where they have like the 5 o'clock shadow.
Right.
So these lovable hobos were in that. And then there was like this little King Bruce, this little 7-year-old King Bruce. And, it told you all the reasons that we did everything.
But
So it was really
nothing
cute.
about Jesus, right?
Not one thing about Jesus. It was all about like why we eat chocolate bunnies. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, those were kind of like the same thing as the Rudolph special, but they swapped out all the people.
Right.
So I thought that was
right.
funny.
Speaking of chocolate bunnies,
Mm.
I remember that was always the sign that Easter was around the corner, because you never know when Easter is. Is it? Oh, it's like next week. Oh no, it's 3 months from now. Like you just
You're
'cause
like,
it
oh, it's in
changes.
March.
Yeah,
Oh, it's in
is it
April. Oh, it's in
It's
May.
March.
Oh,
you know.
you're all, oh, that shit's in October
Yeah,
this year.
it's early.
Okay,
It's late.
nice.
But
Right.
that was the first sign of Easter, is when you saw Cadbury's bunny egg, and you would see the little bunny and then hear the buck, 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 the clucking
So
bunny.
cute.
And then,
Thank you, Easter Bunny.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, those caramel eggs, I'm not a fan of the Cadbury regular egg, but the caramel Cadbury eggs, I mean, I could eat a dozen of those.
Those didn't come out
No
till a little bit
problem.
later. I know the ones with the yolk in them, they just looked disgusting. I never tried one.
I've
And
tried
those were
them.
around for a while.
Yeah,
Those have been around for a long time.
they're not bad.
Uh-huh.
I would like them a lot more if the consistency of the yolky stuff was more like a vanilla cream, but it's too runny for me. But it wasn't bad. It was like kind of a vanilla cream chocolate egg, and the Cadbury chocolate's really good. So I always enjoyed the chocolate.
And I remember at some point getting solid Easter bunnies because typically they're hollow.
Right.
And we would get like a big thing of peanut butter and just like dip their head in peanut butter.
Yeah. You'd break off the ears and just like dunk the ears in the peanut butter.
But when they were solid and we were trying to do that, we could not get a bite because it was too wide.
Yeah,
so
you'd
there'd
be like,
all these teeth marks all over the bunny's head, and he'd be like dipped in the peanut butter, and it'd be like all over the beanbag.
And then you'd get a butter knife, but you'd have to saw. Like you couldn't cut the chocolate. You'd have to actually saw it with a butter knife to get.
And there were shavings, and they were kind of white. You're like, why are these white? Because all the wax was in there. You're like, what am I eating right now? I don't care.
Yeah, that is a huge. That is an Easter crime to me, is waxy chocolate. Like when you got the little gold coins, the chocolate coins. They were waxy, disgusting. I wouldn't even bother with those things.
They still have those. Yes.
They're probably even worse now, right? Because
they're
just
terrible.
gets
of course,
worse,
I've tried
not
a few.
better. That's crazy.
These days, I love, and I don't remember if they had them back then, but they have Cadbury eggs now, and the shape is so beautiful, and they're just little eggs with really good chocolate inside, and they're just straight chocolate with a little crunchy shell, and they're just gorgeous and beautiful. Side note,
kind of like an M&M.
But bigger, way bigger,
like
and way better
M&M?
chocolate.
Like an egg-shaped M&M.
An egg-shaped M&M, but better, with just way better chocolate and a better ratio, like more chocolate. But really, really good. So you were never told about the Easter Bunny?
I don't remember any of those conversations. I remember believing in Santa Claus. I remember specifically getting a note from Santa that I couldn't. When I was. I think I must have been 5. I was 5. So I asked for a camera when I was 5.
Wow.
And Santa wrote me.
Oh, from Santa. Okay.
Yeah, from Santa. And Santa wrote me a note and said that he wasn't able to get a camera because there wasn't enough money this year.
Sorry.
And so he got my doll a high chair instead. And I was just like, really? I mean, I remember so vividly believing that Santa wrote me that note and that was from Santa. And I remember, I think that's probably the moment I turned into the person I am today, and I was just like, okay, so no superpowers for Santa. Like, no, I don't get the miracle. This is what I asked for. And I was good all year, and I can't get it because of some financial business with the North Pole.
Do you not have elves? Like, what's up with the elves? Is there a strike?
Yeah,
wow.
It was pretty funny. I mean, my poor parents, we didn't have much money at that time, so they were probably
of course.
But yeah, so I don't and I remember not long after that not believing in Santa anymore, but I don't remember how. I don't remember who told me about Santa.
Probably one of the cousins or something. Probably Michelle slipped it to you.
No,
or school.
No, Michelle would never do that.
It's always school.
I kind of think I figured it out on my own. I think I just one day went, you know what? Like, why would it? And I don't think I ever believed in the Easter Bunny. I don't think I ever did. I think I always understood him as like an advertising construct. And hey, that was fine with me because you
didn't mind.
Yeah, it was like a little fun thing. You go find the basket.
Did you ever have pictures taken with the Easter Bunny?
I don't think so. My parents were not they never took me to see Santa or any of that. Sometimes
Yeah.
one of the said hobos would put on a Santa outfit at
No.
Christmas and be
No.
Santa. Or like my dad or my uncle or somebody would do that. But at Easter, no, there wasn't
No,
really a
no Easter
whole.
Bunny at the Pink Panther in
No.
Buffalo?
No, there was no, he'd never made an appearance.
Mm, 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 mm.
I'm sure he was invited, but yeah, it
There-
wasn't, I don't know, it didn't work that way. What about school? Like, what happened at school when you had
At
Easter?
school in the valley in nice sunny California, we knew it was Easter when the art would be like, okay, we're getting tissue paper and we're rolling it into little balls and we're going to cut out, out of a paper plate. We're going to glue the little balls on there and then we're going to cut out ears. You're like, oh, okay, it's Easter.
Right.
It's always tissue paper rolled in little balls, kind of
Yeah.
like your background there on your call.
Yeah, like making right. Well, I've got on my you guys can't see us, but like Amy's background is the Barbie townhouse. My background is a plastic cornflake Easter bunny. You know, those plastic cornflake molds.
Oh, it looks so much like the rolled up little tissue balls from here. That's so funny.
Oh, yeah, no, it's but I remember being really adept at making tissue carnations because that was kind of universal. Like St. Patty's Day, you made green ones, and Valentine's Day, you made red ones and pink ones, and then Easter, you made the bunny. And in my, and of course, Easter meant Easter vacation,
Correct.
which, that was huge. I mean, when I look back, it felt like Easter vacation was like a month, even though it was a week, maybe
We
two.
typically went to Disneyland here in California during that vacation once a year.
Oh my God, wasn't it wall-to-wall people?
I don't remember because sometimes it was overcast and it might be sprinkling. So it wasn't wall to wall as summer was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, everybody here in Buffalo would go down to Disney World in Florida for Christmas. And, our family, honestly, we never took one single family vacation ever, like as long as I've lived. So, I mean, we had like one or two little weekend road trips, I think. But that was it. Like, and that was just like my parents were going to see their friend. But we never went on any family vacations. But all of the girls with the matching turtlenecks and sweaters and corduroys and the ones with the fancy eggs.
Towels.
Yeah, and the warm towels. They would go to Disney World with their families, which I was always I would turn olive green with envy because I wanted so bad to go to Disney World with my family. Like,
We didn't do family vacations either in the way of leaving the state, but in our town, all this stuff was kind of in our town. So Disneyland, you get in the car and you drive for 2 hours and you're there. So it wasn't really like we went and got on a flight, but it was a vacation. But then you just drove home that night. So it wasn't like this big, huge production.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we went on vacations like that. We did something local.
But didn't you have friends who, every Easter they went here or every Christmas they went there?
I had friends that were like, "We're going skiing." Yes, but I didn't notice. I didn't notice or envy them because I thought, "Wow, I like Disneyland better than wherever they went." So I didn't really. I liked the beach. I liked Disneyland. Everything that was near me is what I just liked anyway. So
yeah,
I didn't have that.
I guess that might be somewhat unique to growing up in a place like Buffalo, where, God love it. I mean, it doesn't have Disneyland. We would, in the summertime, we would go to the area amusement parks, and I would be up all night the night before, like with my pupils dilated, and then we would go to the amusement park and I would want to go on every single ride, like 3 times. I would eat French fries, waffle cakes and donuts and candy apples and anything else you put in front of my face. And by the end of the day, it's like 7:00 at night or something. And my parents, they're just like pale and they want to go home and they're exhausted. And I'm just like, no, I want to go. Like, I never wanted to leave.
My sister would always cry on the way home, and I'd be pouting, and I'd like lose my balloon, and it would fly off, and you feel miserable. Like my Disneyland balloon with like they had like the Mickey ear balloon inside of the big round balloon.
Oh,
And then
fancy.
like you'd lose it and you'd see it getting smaller in the parking lot and you just burst.
Oh,
I
that
think I cried over that
is
one
there
actually.
anything just like more
It's a kick in the gut when you
what
lose a balloon.
yeah, and watching it just get tinier and tinier and float away cuz you're like, "Oh my god,
The
where's it
worst
going?" And
feeling.
you had it in your hand. You
And you
had
feel like
it.
you're on it. You're like,
You
what if
had
I
it
was
in
on
your
it and I
hand.
got
Yeah.
lost? It's getting lost. You're attached to it and it's leaving.
Yeah. Oh god, that's terrible.
It's like if someone buys you a gift and you watch the gift, the little stuffed animal just slowly leave at a
right, and
very
just fade
leisurely
away,
pace.
fly away, like float
It's
up in
just
the
the
air.
worst feeling in
Yeah,
the
because
world.
it's like going to its death. You know,
It's going to its death.
it's gonna
Bye,
hit the sun and
balloon.
burst into flames.
So I'm watching my balloon get smaller, and my sister's crying next to me. And the second we get in the car, she's always car sick. She's like, I gotta throw up. And she always did throw up. Like she always ended up throwing up. And I'm like, oh man. So we had to pull over.
Yeah.
It just really, you know. Anyway.
I remember one vacation. We didn't go anywhere or anything, but I was in third grade,
Mm.
Mrs. Schaubert's third grade class,
So you were
and
what, like 8, 8, 9, 8?
well, I was a little younger. I was 7, so
You were
yeah, because
7.
I was a year
Third.
younger than everybody.
Oh yeah.
So we had to bring in a colored egg on the last day
Mm-hmm.
before Easter vacation because it was like a show and tell egg type thing.
Ooh, let's see your beautiful egg, Robbie-Ann.
Yeah, so I brought in my egg,
Mm-hmm.
and then what we were doing was like decorating them with extra markers or something. It was like an art class project,
Okay.
if I recall correctly. But anyway, we just had to bring in this egg. So I brought in. Of course, I don't have that mom. You know, I have.
Was it hard boiled at least?
Oh yeah, it was hard boiled.
Okay, good.
But it wasn't empty, you know, like it was a hard boiled egg. So
Right.
I I left it in my desk. By
What,
accident.
after you decorated it?
Well, like at the end of the day, you know.
Oh, so during vacation, it stayed in your
so it
desk?
sat in my desk on
Oh, no,
vacation,
girl.
and apparently it was very warm. That
Oh, no.
So we come back, and I think we had like a 10-day vacation because Easter fell on I don't know what, it was some weird thing. So we come back from vacation, and apparently they opened the door to Mrs. Schaubert's room, and like, you know, they were just smacked in the face by this rotted
They were like,
egg
is
smell.
is there a corpse in here? Oh, wait, no.
Yeah,
It's
because
Robbie's
they
desk.
didn't know what it was. So they had these people come in, and there were these guys looking in the pipes and stuff.
Like hazmat suits. They were like, there's a bomb in here.
Right. And I come in and I open my desk. You know how the desk would lift up? I open my desk
Oh,
and
my
there's
goodness.
this egg. It was like, oh my God. Oh no, Robbie.
Oh, no.
And
Robbie.
Mrs. Schaubert was just like, well, I guess.
So
we
was your
found-"
egg like brown and hateful? Like what was the color of that egg?
Well, interestingly enough, it looked okay.
Okay, good.
You know,
What did it
because-
look like? What color was it? What did you choose?
Well, I remember a blue egg with some sad version of the art project. Like I
Okay.
don't know, I wrote my name on it, or we did something
So it was
like
a
that.
blue egg with your name.
Yeah, it was and it wasn't even blue. It was like blotchy and spotty, like a typical Paas egg that I would do. And from the outside, it looked okay, but it was a rotted egg
So the smell of your failure to bring the egg home
right my
resonated
failure.
in the third grade classroom, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, all through. Well, it was kind of the whole wing of the class,
So
but it was
everybody
really
turned
bad.
and looked
in
at
that
you, or
classroom.
what? Did every kid
yeah.
know that Robbie left her egg?
Oh yeah, because I said, I was like, oh my God, and I pulled the egg out, you know, and Mrs. Schaubert was like, oh my God, well, I guess we found the stench, you know. Nice going, Robbie.
Did you have residual shame over that in the coming days?
You know, I had so much residual shame from so many incidents
That's so
like
sad.
that
We're
it was just
kidding.
another in a long line of oh no Robbies.
You
It
were like,
really,
add it to the list. That's very Charlie Brown. You're reminding
yeah.
me
Oh
of like
God, yeah.
female Charlie Brown right now.
I related to Charlie Brown, but no, it was like Ramona Quimby. I mean, that is so something Ramona Quimby would do. I was just a living, breathing version of the children's book character Ramona Quimby. That was it. And
Now,
man, Easter was no exception.
I like to this day when I do an Easter basket for a kid, I still like that fake weird green grass. I don't like that they have yellow and purple and pink. It has to be that bright green shredded plastic.
Oh, that's interesting. I prefer the colored versions. I like
Mm.
purple and the pink and yellow and the because it looks to me it looks fake anyway. So unless you're gonna use like the moss, the actual moss grass or something, like you may as well just go for broke. Go neon, go
And
Dayglow.
I love those really just the cheap vinyl woven baskets
Yeah,
from like the
yeah,
grocery store. I think those are so great. I
yeah. They're like
still love
super
those.
colors, like pink and bright green
But I
and
will add a giant silk or satin ribbon to it if the ribbon's
oh,
not nice enough. I always these days I'll do like a giant wicker basket and like spray paint the whole thing light pink or light blue. But
nice.
I really like those really fake 70s baskets.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we used to get all the time. We
Hmm.
would get the fake 70s basket.
Just
Um
vinyl. It just smelled like a pool toy. You
yeah,
just smell that vinyl.
right.
You're
It
like,
was all
yep.
like petroleum product and then wrapped in some kind of cellophane and just chock full of like all that stuff that I was talking about. Yeah, and you know what we forgot cuz we're
Hmm.
totally out of time. Like I can't even believe it. We
Oh,
forgot
tell
to
me now.
talk about the inflatables. Did you have the inflatable
I
rabbits?
didn't. I didn't. But everybody that speaking of the smell of pool toys.
Yeah, yeah. We always had, because like my grandparents, they want, they went for broke, right? So they would go and get these giant inflatable purple rabbits, with holding the carrot in one hand,
That must have looked so fantastic.
Oh, it was great. It was so
How fun.
yeah, it was like they were doing that before lawn inflatables became a thing, It was just a big huge production because Easter was such a happy holiday in the Polish Catholic household, right?
Of
He is
course.
risen, right? So it was just this big joyous thing and it was to the nines, which I miss so much. I really miss my grandparents. I miss my family and that whole thing, it's tough to get older and but that's why we do this show, right? Because we talk about nostalgia.
We do. And I also have noticed that when I feel sad about not doing these things anymore, I usually go and volunteer somewhere and go do it somewhere. I go to the Dollar Tree and I go decorate some big crazy thing at the school or wherever.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
hear
it's
you.
kind of fun. If you have the time, some years I just don't have the time to do it, or there's something going on. But sometimes I'm like, you know what? Wouldn't it be fun just to go all out? And if you're at an office, you're the one that brings in all the stuff that year.
Right.
So there's ways to incorporate it, but I
Yeah,
do miss it too.
I decorate my porch
Oh, do
in
you?
honor of my grandma every holiday.
That is
Like,
so
and it's
cute.
massive. Like, if I have these giant 8 foot Halloween pumpkins I put out there. I right now there's like, um, because we're recording this in Valentine's Day season, we just happen to be.
Hmm.
There's just big glitter hearts and all kinds of crazy stuff hanging and lights and yeah, I know it's
It
kind
brings
of
people
garish,
joy
but
though. No, you
well,
know what? When I pass by something like that, it brings me joy. It gives me a little adrenaline burst. I'm like, you know
right,
what?
right.
That's really
No,
cool.
you're right. I can't tell you how many of my neighbors whom I don't know,
Hmm.
if they're out walking their dogs or something and they see me come out of my house, they say, "Oh my gosh, I love your holiday decorations. I love them." And
It brings joy.
my one neighbor next door was like, "Yeah, that's how I tell people to find my house. It's the driveway next to the pumpkins." I'm like, "Oh, I think that's good,
You're
right?"
all, is that good?
Yeah.
Or
Is it a
that
compliment
is
or am I a loser?
so cool. Yeah, you know what? I love that. I love that you don't even realize that you just did it because it brought you joy, but you brought other people joy as well. And I love
Right.
that.
It's the spirit. Yeah. So, wow, what a fun time. Thanks, you guys, for hanging out with us, talking about Easter. And remember, whatever you're listening on now, we're available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. You can find us. And we are on Instagram, Glitter Bee Girls on Instagram. And we read all of our DMs. So slide in there and tell us about your Easter stuff. And then on Twitter, Glitter Bee Girls. We also check in on that all the time. So
I request that Robbie find a picture of that butter lamb and put it up on something.
100%.
One of our social media platforms.
Yeah, it is getting to the season. Now, they're only available at Easter. So it's getting to the season where I will find a butter lamb. I will post that stuff. Yeah, it's a total Buffalo thing. But we thank you guys. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson over on the East Coast.
And I'm Amy Asbury on the West Coast.
And we are the Glitter Boom Girls. Friendship is our superpower. Thanks for listening, you guys. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.